Hello, everyone. Welcome to Guildmaster Gaming. This time around, I'm with a friend of mine who I've been associated with for several years through the League of Utah Writers. She's an award-winning author, Inna Lyon, and she is doing something totally different now. And what we're going to do is talk about her most recent work that she's been working on. She has published in Russian, but now she is taking one of those and bringing it to English, and it's We Are the Humans. So please welcome Inna. And Inna, please tell us a little bit about your book.
Hello everybody, and thanks for having me. I feel a little bit like a celebrity. This is my first ever interview about my first ever big book in English. I always love to read, but I never saw myself writing, especially in English, because it's my second language. Because you can hear by my accent that it's a different language I speak. I speak Russian, and one time 6 years ago, I traveled on Montenegro and um, I got in a car accident. And after that, like whole entire life changed for me. I decided to do things that I always dreamed but never finished. And I took dance classes, I took yoga classes, and I decided to start writing. So I found the creative writing classes at the um, middle school, and I started attending them. And guess what happened next? COVID. So we all got locked down at home, and I didn't have anything else except start writing. So I started writing my novel, and first it was like assignments, homework for my classes, and suddenly it's slowly start turning into something bigger. And here we are with my heroine, Tasha Volk, has Russian heritage, of course, and she's feisty and try to save the world. So that's my book.
Trying to save the world. I guess we should probably give a little bit more that this is a post-apocalyptic setting, and she starts out just trying to be out and surviving on her own and runs into a survivalist camp, right?
Yes,
And it
yes.
kind of goes from there, and we find out there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the world uh, in terms of the way the economy and ecology and everything's just kind of deteriorating. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you have going on in this. So, I'm thinking because of where the characters have gone and everything going on, you had a lot of research to do with this novel. So, what is some of the research you had to do to get these ideas across in your writing?
No, first of all, the book takes place in Tucson, Arizona, and specifically in Biosphere 2. It's a real place. It's a laboratory about 20 miles from Tucson. And we went there traveling and went there on excursion, and I was absolutely fascinated by this real thing. So Biosphere has five different biomes that represent um, climate of our Earth, and they did like different scientific experiences. And the one that absolutely was fascinating for me, they took 8 people and locked them inside of this biosphere for 2 years, so they kind of can see what we can do regarding global warming and how to Earth will reproduce different products and stuff. So I was like absolutely in love with this project. So I decided that my book going to take place there. So I read a lot, I took pictures, I took notes, and the other part of the book is in the Yellowstone National Park. My family loves it. I've been there 14 times. So, and I love the park. And so that's kind of like was my second part of the book where the person versus nature. So main hero, main characters versus nature. So I tried to do that. And of course, like I had to learn a little bit about the uh, I gave my heroine a gift of night vision, so I had to study the biology and science behind that. I went to my eye doctor and talked to her, so she gave me some ideas. So I did a lot of research, and of course, my heroine with the Russian heritage, I didn't have to research on that, so I just remember my grandma's jokes and just kind of implemented a little bit of her feisty character.
So you mentioned your grandma's jokes and so forth. Just out of curiosity, does the character Tasha is it kind of drawn off the memories you have of a particular person?
Well, the first of all, Tasha, it means Natasha is a short name, Tasha. And my sister name's Natasha, my friend, my cousin. So I have about 8 people Natasha in my life. So they all have different traits and characters. So that was kind of near and dear to me, that character that kind of possessed against this stamina and fightness and just a kind of something that brings a little bit of Russian feisty personal person character. Okay.
So it's kind of a composite of a lot of different
Yes,
people
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So she is quite a feisty character in this book and kind of is, you have a strong female lead going through all this. Now, I did catch from knowing you a little bit, I saw a little bit of Ina in that character too,
Um,
especially when it came to food.
that's absolutely true. And I read the article by J.K. Rowling, and she said, no matter how you try, conceal yourself, your character will seep through through your books. So I guess that's there because I am a cook by nature. I love cooking, and I guess my character so talks about food and cooks some food and yeah, you're right. It's a little bit of me.
Yeah, there's some really good descriptions of some meals in there, like, the chili being from a Michelin star restaurant. Some fun humor for those of us that understand food a little bit and how it all kind of works together. So
And you do understand food, right? You have some
yeah,
food
I
background.
well, it's kind of like what you're saying. I know you have been trained professionally in the culinary arts, and I wasn't trained professionally through schooling, but I grew up with it because my dad was a chef. So up until, starting at the age, I started cooking in a restaurant at the age of like 8, or for a restaurant at the age of 8, up until my into my 20s and then even beyond for a while for different things. So I had a lot of fun reading those parts and kind of seeing that, knowing you and seeing how that came through. So when you were doing some things, you really got into some of the nature cooking, and like she has to hunt and trapping, and then talking about some of the things they were doing. Did you also research out some of those aspects for different styles of cooking?
Yes, I knew absolutely nothing about hunting and cooking in nature, so I had to do thorough research. So, yeah, that was part of my research.
So
My
there's
son,
a
my
lot of
son,
different areas you're going there.
yeah, my son was my better reader, and he told me that I need to add something like to expand her experience being alone in the nature and how she survived.
So, out of all of those different areas, what would you say was the most shocking thing that you learned in your research that just kind of got you even more excited about writing this story?
Uh, I gave my heroine the gift of night vision, and I thought it's like absolute fantasy. But as I mentioned, I talked to my eye doctor, and she told me that human eye really has these different parts they called cones and rods. And cones, that's parts that allow us see during the day, and rods are allowed us to see during the night. And then in some people, it's they have really, really many of those particles, so they kind of like animals that cannot see better at night. So I didn't know that. That was interesting fact, and I researched about it. So I wasn't too much far away from the truth. So there are some people gifted with night visions.
So that kind of got you going. Was when you're writing the book, what was you say probably just briefly, probably one of the sequences or one of the scenes that you think is one of the better ones that you really like that people could kind of look forward to?
um, my character, of course, it's a love triangle. So she has one boyfriend and current boyfriend, and I really like writing the part where she was staying alone in a cabin and she was dancing, and she was kind of like almost falling in love with her commander, other characters, so Tasha and Condor. So they were kissing and they were dancing. I kind of enjoyed that part because I had to come up with the songs. And my editor told me that I cannot use any of the songs because of the author's right. So I had to make up some songs that will go along. So that was fun part. And of course, kind of like a tender feelings that they have toward each other because during this hard times, dystopian, and there's you don't think that there will be love, but there it is. So people still can love each other and be gentle with each other.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned this is kind of a dystopian setting. So if people want a comparison to kind of say, well, what is this like? What what stories would you say that you kind of referenced and used to create We Are the Humans?
Well, you asked. Well, I'm the biggest fan of Hunger Games, so I really like Katniss and how strong of heroine she is and how she's ready to sacrifice herself. And I read the book several times, I watched the movies, and I listened to it. And at the end of um, part three, I believe, Susan Collins is talking about just giving the interview, and she says that you don't have to blindly believe that everything the government tell you. So have kind of takes everything with a grain of salt. So and it's really good when your main character is ready to sacrifice herself, himself for the goods of others. So that's kind of was drawn me so much that I wanted to create a heroine that it's kind of like ready to sacrifice herself if it comes to save others. And then my editor told me that my book kind of reminds you. This one, it's called The Cruel Design by Emily Suvada. And there's three books, but this is the first one that also talks about organ transplant and responsibility of scientists for their research and what they do with knowledge and research that they were able to implement to real life and how to use it for good or for bad.
Okay. So you're talking about the good and the bad and the ethics of medical and everything like this here. So we talked about some of the inspirations and how Natasha is a combined character from people, the professor, uh,
Uh-huh.
the absolute villain of the book. I mean, that won't be giving anything away because it's given up early. Did you have like a particular stereotype or a particular person that you kind of saw? And you don't have, if you just want to say, yes, but I don't want to say it anymore. I understand that because we don't want to give away who is our villains. But did you kind of, it seems like you had a pretty good basis of where you wanted that character to be coming from.
No, I didn't have anybody in particular, but reading all these books about writing, it says that your villain should be somehow complete opposite of antagonist, but somehow antagonist protagonist needs to be complete opposite of each other, but have some common ground. And that was the hard, how to like give your villain some human qualities. And again, my beta readers told me, give him something, and he needs to be like a something good in him because we're not born bad people. So I listen about again about them antagonists, how what to do them, and so I implemented some human qualities to him, why he became it, what did he do. So I had to add some stuff. But before he was just a, they told me cookie cutter villain. But yeah, I work hard to give him some human qualities. But he's still a bad guy.
Yeah. Kind of that saying when they say that every villain is the hero of their own story.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, kind of going that way. So we have this whole event that takes place starting out up in Yellowstone and ending up down in Tucson. Do you have plans of taking this into another story with this world or with the characters?
A lot of people asking me that, and I think I put enough Chekhov's gun. I hope your audience know what that means, overshadowing, to maybe have a sequel because I kind of didn't finish the story of your friend, and there's some children, and there's some love interest. So, but I don't know right now. Maybe I'll just take a little break of this story and I kind of killed my villain in the end. So now I have to think of miraculous resurrection or just maybe come up with the other villain. But I do have some plans that her story not ended. So as my editor said, it's peaceful in Tasha's world right now. But what happened next, who knows? She was going to Canada. Maybe she will make it there.
Well, it's even like you pointed out in this book, there's enough going on in the world that this one person down in Tucson isn't all of it. So if you're looking at maybe taking a break from writing into the sequel of We Are the Humans, what are some other projects that you're thinking of working on or that you have in the pipeline that you'd like to be working on?
I have quite a few anthologies in English, but in Russian I have like full-length books. So there's a couple books that I really like. I wrote one is an urban fantasy about the mutants, and another one is you mentioned cooking. So this is the book about the 16-year-old boy who is cooking. And so there's a lot of secrets what it takes to cook for public catering. So I wrote this book in Russian and I'm right now translating it in English. So I hope it will be um, something different because of the We Are the Humans is dystopian novel. So this is kind of like coming to age book. So, and I'm working on it. And if I had all the time in the world, I would write a book about this.
Ah, the Titanic.
Titanic. Um, and we all know the story of Cameron, of Jack and Rose, and but behind this story, there's so many different things, and I'm absolutely fascinated with this story. I'm going to the museums, I'm collecting books, I'm reading about it. So I have a couple articles that I wrote about it. And it's just, again, like the phrase and the Las Vegas Museum says, we all are passengers of Titanic because it's affected us all. It changed society. It changed the whole entire cruising um, and different parts of the um, marine craft and how ships are made and what precautions for safety are made. So, and it left like just imprint on the society because society was so divided, poor and first class that were saved and poor people who didn't. So that's kind of always touches me deeply, and I want people to tell more. So that's what I like. I would like to write something on Titanic, either short stories or maybe a collection of stories or full novel. So that's my project.
Okay, some pretty ambitious ones there. Uh, so,
Yeah.
so you've got, this one that you've done is dystopian, post-apocalyptic. You've got an urban fantasy and a coming of age, kind of sounds like a contemporary. So you write across multiple different genres.
Well, that's my another problem. Nobody told me that you should stick to one genre. So I try in everything, and I have even a young adult couple books. I have middle grade, one book about the letter that escaped the alphabet. And I took Johnny Wortham class. I'm writing a detective story about Yellowstone, 1916. So I'm tipping my feet into different waters, trying different genres. So I didn't find mine yet. So, but I really, really like short stories. So I have about 45 short stories and maybe put them in the book. I don't know. So I like short stories, but I'm multi-genre person and I just finished a screenplay. So yeah, trying everything.
I think that's always interesting. Like you said, nobody's told me to not write in just one. I always hear that from like keynote speakers at events saying, "Oh, don't do like I did, just stick with one genre." But I'm sitting there always thinking, but you're successful at writing in multiple genres, but you're telling other people not to do it.
Well, as Johnny Wortham put it that with each different genre, you need to gain different audience. So because some people like to read Hunger
Yeah.
Games, the other like to read thrillers and detective stories. So you have to find your audience. And I don't think the audience will follow the author. They probably follow the genre. So that's my opinion.
So which one are you having the most fun with writing so far?
Um, uh, Middle grade children's stories.
So more like your coming of age story that you have?
No, that's a story about little four little animals that are being detectives. So I listened
Oh,
to
okay, that's totally different.
I listened to the lecture about Agatha Christie and how she like earned her fame and money for bread and butter with her detective stories. But when she didn't write the detective stories, she took a pen name. I don't remember the name right now, and she wrote the just about English society, how different aspects affect people, and just about 7 books just about life and the women and their late 40s and what they do and how they're reconsidering all this English monarchy and stuff. So she never uh, like became famous of these books because everybody wanted her detective story. So, but this was kind of her like getaway writing. So same story for me. So when I tired of research and everything, I just come up with my children's story and I write about these little animals who are detectives and they just try to save the literature from plagiarism and stuff like that. So just crazy, crazy ideas.
Oh, that's great. So one of the things I usually ask everybody is like, where do you find the inspiration for all this? Because you have such a variety of stories that you do. And like you said, you've already got 45 short stories, and I know from being around you that you've won a number of awards for your short stories over the past few years.
Yeah, 22 awards and two gold typewriters. Uh, do you want to really me spill my secret where I found my stories?
Yeah.
Well, they come to me in dreams. So I dream crazy. I can wake up every morning and I just have absolutely crazy, crazy dreams. I need to have pen and pencil and piece of paper and write it down because it does really. I dream wildly. I can um, each morning have a book. Yeah, that's where it's coming from. I
No,
guess you
that's great.
read in the evening. You when you open the book and read in the evening, your brain keep working in that direction. So I guess that helps reading.
Okay, so you get a lot of ideas from your dreams and start outlining them the next morning. Now, just like so many of us, we know that writing is not your full-time job.
That's
Um,
not.
it's we all kind of struggle with that, I think, as writers, as creative talents in general. So I'm not too worried about what you're doing, but is it your goal to want to be just a full-time writer, or is this just something you like doing along with everything else that you do?
Of course, I want to be a full-time writer, but for myself, I figured out that deadlines is like really kick in the pants because when I know that I have to turn something by April 26th, so I just kind of set my schedule and I know I have to work and I know I don't have the time. So I get up at 4 a.m. I write, I come home and I write, I take a break at work and I write. We going on a trip and I just bring my laptop with me and I'm writing, just cramming these little pieces of time out of my busy schedule. And this was my really real inspiration to you when you have deadline, when you have to turn in something. So that really helps you to think about it constantly and then put it into work. So that helped me.
So you showed us a couple of your novels, and I know you're in some of the anthologies I'm in through the Infinite Monkeys, and you're in some of the anthologies from the League of Utah Writers, and also from the Blue Quills. Are there some other areas out there that you've been published that people might be able to find your work?
My goal for the last year was to publish somewhere outside of Utah, and I've been published to Missouri. It's called Countess. So it's online magazine that accepts different stories, and they accepted my article about Titanic and um, one of my kind of essay about Russia. So, and I also been published in book of poetry. So I even try poetry. So I have a few poems there. So, but most of my work right now they're on Amazon with either League of Utah Writers or Blue Quill Chapter or Monkeys. So, but don't have my own books yet. But I do have a website. It's called Inna Lyon Writer. So that's my website, and I post some stories there and some news. And yeah, we'll see where it goes.
So you actually got my next question ahead of me. I was going to ask where people can find you.
Yeah.
So
So
it's Ina.
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and blog Inna Lyon Writer, and Amazon with League Writers. Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay. So kind of winding down here as we were kind of getting into about a half hour here with you. Um, what, I mean, you mentioned there was this accident and you decided you want to try to do things, and one of them is become a writer. Was that a goal that you had when you were in your younger days too, that you wanted to be a writer?
Um,
Or is that something that came kind of later on in life going, I just want to try it?
as many authors say, I write the book that I want to read, but my initial goal was just to read English and understand it. So that was my like the most coveted goal. And I came to America and I start reading Narnia. And I just was reading it with a dictionary and I'm like, I want to understand what it says. So that was my goal. And when I finally finished Narnia, I started like several blogs. I had a cooking blog, I had like my story blogs, travel blog. So and I thought, they're not too bad. It's actually interesting story. So when I as I mentioned, when I got into a car accident, I decided why not to try? What's gonna happen? People say me no, but I still gonna try it. So I decided to try, and I started writing first in English, and then I start taking Russian classes and start taking Russian writing in Russian too.
Oh, okay. So if someone was to come to you now and say, I want to be a writer, I want to write books, I want to write stories, what advice would you give them?
First advice, of course, read a lot. Read a lot in your genre, but I also would recommend read a lot of book on writing. There's plenty of book. Probably every famous author has its own book. Even Stephen King on writing, um, Ray Bradbury, Zen for Writers. So there, everybody has a book. My favorite is Elizabeth Gilbert, Big Magic. So that's absolutely amazing book. But also find writing community, like we have League of Future Writers, like we have monkeys and different groups, because as Stephen King said it, writing is a lone business done in groups. Of course, you write when you're alone, but you need your friends who will be your better readers, who will be your critique group, who will be your support group. So the people that will you will share your passion and just people who will support you. It's very important to have shoulder to shoulder, rub shoulders with your writers friends. So find your writing community, find friends, or come to monkeys.
All right. So we've been talking again. I'll throw this up there on the screen so people can see it. We are the humans, and that's the one that you've got kind of working on now. There we go. There it is. Now this is just a working cover for people to know. This is because I was able to review this as an advanced review copy. So right now you are still in the editing phases, working with that through. Uh, any estimated time of when you think the book will be ready?
This book is published on Russian platform in Russian, of course, and I have about 900 sales in 4 months. So I think it's something good. So right now I just finished proofreading with an English editor, and I sent a couple letters to agent and small agencies. So I'm hoping to hear from them and maybe see it. I'm hoping to the end of this year. If nothing comes out, then I will go self-publish. But right now,
Okay.
hopefully, I can finish it this year. So
So I tell people, follow Ina on the social media, and you
yep,
can get updates about this. And it looks like shooting for kind of like a Christmas time release would
yes,
make a great gift. Uh, I won't say it's young adult, but it's got some mature themes in it and everything. But it does have, with the way it's kind of set out, it's kind of right in the verge there. So it's kind of a nice
they
mix.
called it new adult. Up to age 25, they called it new adult.
Oh, new adult.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's a new one for me. I've never heard of new adult before
never
with
heard
all
of
the
it?
stuff I've done.
Yeah, it is genre. It is genre, new adult from 20 to 25. And also,
Okay.
I heard new term cli-fi, like climate fiction. So I
Yeah.
think it follows that too.
Yeah, it is cli-fi. Uh, it's because it has that in there. Plus, like I said, it deals with a lot of different things that we've kind of been seeing around going on in the world for the last few years. So yeah, really, everybody, keep an eye out for it. Follow Ina. You'll be able to find out more information and get on that. So I'm just going to finish up with one final thing about, is there any final thing you'd like to just share with everybody or say about your book or about your writing or basically anything else you'd like to say?
Um, Probably I'll say, guys, just don't sit on your couch. Just go and get your dream, catch your dream. And right now I'm listening to the book that called The Measure. Um, by Nikki Eric, and it says like that people receive these weird strings that will measure the lifetime. So, and it's what's going on because of that. And I'm just thinking like it says in the books, it says that a lot of people start traveling, pursuing their dreams, starting doing some. I don't think we need to wait for those strings because life is short. So if you want to do something, go start skiing, go start dancing, go, I don't know, take a painting classes like I did and start doing something. So just go and get your dream. If you want to be a writer, be it. Do it.
Well, Ina, thank you for joining me and my audience here at Guildmaster Gaming. Again, We Are the Humans by Inna Lyon. Hopefully, it will be out by the end of this year, so keep an eye out for that and follow Ina there. And if you like what we're doing here, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It helps to be able to do more of these sort of things, interviewing authors like Ina, filmmakers, game developers. I've had artists, all sorts of different things that we're trying to do here and be advancing things out. So, everyone, thank you again for joining me and Ina.
Thank you.